Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome, Keith. How you doing?
Oh wow, it's I love this format. I just love this format. You know, you are doing miracles here. We together are playing around with this sort of audio only format, and you've even taken it up a notch by adding polls and cool graphics and great backgrounds. So we really have a lovely format here, I think.
Hey, this is tonight's episode is Experience Matters, and earlier this afternoon I didn't have the time, but I was thinking, hey, you know what? I I- I've embraced this new mantra: be seen, be heard, be remembered, and I think I'm going to tweak this intro video so that it's not just my business brand and Experience Matters, which is the show's theme, but I want to include a part that reminds people here's a platform that helps people be seen, be heard, and be remembered. Today, we're coming live through social audio. We are not jumping on camera. Uh, those who want to join us are more than welcome to participate. Join us on stage through their use of their avatar. If you want to join simply through the chat, you can do that as well. But listen, we have a exciting agenda that I am just waiting to jump into. So before we do that, why don't we introduce ourselves? I'll hand it over to you. Why don't you share with my audience and my community
Yeah.
who you are and what you're doing, what you're up to?
Yeah, so it's look. This is a very good example of what we now call pod guesting. Many people might not have heard of me. I'm in Melbourne, Australia, on the other side of the world, and it's quite reasonable that you've never heard of what I'm doing. I've been doing this a long time, but you may not know that. I'm in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, and I've decided that I want to be the audio only guy. I want to be the guy that comes on stage without his camera on. For all those people in the world that think, man, I don't want to put my camera on. And there's about 25% of the world that's sort of rebuffing this video trend. I know it's a trend, the TikTokification of the world, but I'm not into TikTok. I'm not into Snapchat. I'm not into Instagram. And I apologize if that offends you, but I'm really, really, really into audio, and I want to be the best in the world at this. And I want to talk to the 25% of the world that thinks, you know what, I don't want to put my camera on either, Keith. I'm with you. Come on, man. I'm your friend straight away.
Well,
So you got to pick your battles. And this is my battle. I'm the audio only dude.
absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, your roots run deep into the audio and radio universe, does it not?
Yeah.
So that's where your passion for audio begun. And I think it's a fantastic alternative for anyone who perhaps isn't ready for the camera yet, or
Yeah.
someone who is ready for the camera but just feels, you know what? My message is what resonates. My message is what I want heard. You don't need to see me physically scrambling because when you're producing these shows, you and I, we both know, and anyone who produces these shows knows how difficult it is. And there are
Yeah.
times
Let me
where,
let me pick up on that, mate.
yeah,
This is exactly why I do this. Uh, I don't particularly like video, but that's not why I'm not doing them. The reason I personally don't like doing videos is because I run my own shows, and I can't look at the camera and look at the comments and back channel people who have questions and manage the tech by myself and look at the camera at the same time. I did try it back in 2020, and I tell you what, I had a migraine every day for a year because I was trying to look in the camera. I was trying to split my brain and watch the comments. I was trying to split my brain and research something that was happening at the time. And I noticed myself, and this is a very interesting insight. I noticed when I turned my camera off, everything seemed to make sense. And I thought, you know what? I think I've found my flow now. I know I've missed out on a couple of people that want to see my face. I don't have any objections to showing my face, but I just don't want to be looking at the camera all the time. And I don't like watching shows where the person's looking at the camera, but then they're not. They're looking at someone on the screen, and then they're making comments on 6 different platforms. I just find those pieces of content very distracting.
I totally can support what you're saying. I'll watch a replay of an episode that I would have aired, and I'll catch myself seeming distracted, but with no intention am I distracted. It's you're just running the show and you're trying to stay on top of the comments. Like for instance, I want to welcome our guests who are jumping on. We got Meryl, Lisa, Chris, and Daniel who have jumped in, and so
Yeah.
welcome to those of you who are jumping in. Glad to see you all return. I'm excited. This is a an alternate format, and I'm perfectly comfortable in this format. I'm not afraid to go on camera, even though I know I have a face for radio. Uh, I uh, I just want to be able to come here, converse, and make sure that what was
Mm.
once just a keyboard presence is now diversified and given my audience an alternative, because not everyone can read into my tone when I'm typing
Yeah.
away, right? And being a keyboard warrior, we put all our love and passion into what we're writing. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not that great of a writer. Neither, nor do I enjoy writing, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, can I
here,
ask about that, Americo? I've
yeah,
heard you mention
absolutely.
this phrase, and I've never dug deep into this. You mentioned the word keyboard warrior. Did you, at one stage, especially during the pandemic, did you sort of hide out behind your fingers and think, well, I'm creating a presence here, but all I'm doing is typing words on a page? Did you feel that was sort of in one way empowering, but on another way, bit of a cheat?
It was the one of the key functionalities that I had to bring my personal brand was through my words. And it wasn't until late last year that I realized, hey, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a different way, because what I'm writing may resonate with a very small percentage, and I might not be getting in front of that percentage. So what's next? What can I do different? How can I step outside of my comfort zone, build my personal brand, and add credibility and social proof? I talk about helping others be seen, be heard, and be remembered. How can I do that and step away from the camera, from the audio tools that we have, and just hide behind a keyboard? So yeah, I coined the keyboard warrior, but that's exactly what happened. So I've come out of my shell. Here I am. uh, like it or hate it, we can't be all things to all people, but those who resonate with what I have to share are coming back with great sentiment, great comments, and
Mm.
great inspirational comments. Like, hey, I really like what you're doing. Hey, you've inspired me to want to think differently and try something different. As a result, th- this this platform has brought, for instance, you and I together, and we're
Yeah.
at opposite ends of the globe. You've introduced me to some fantastic uh, people. Uh, Last time I had you on my show, you humbled me by sharing, hey, what was it, 125 new followers and connections that
Yeah.
you gained? Would I have been able to do that just by typing content and hoping that people would get to it? Probably not.
You know what? One of the things I want to pick up on, and this is a very good example, because I until yesterday did 3 shows a week. It's a lot, and I've realised it's probably too much. And from July, I'm dropping back to 1 show a week. But I'm usually on the other side of the microphone doing the interviewing, and I love it. But what we're experimenting with today is this relatively new phenomenon called pod guesting. And what I mean by that, and this is not my phrase, but it, I went on your show and spent an hour of my time talking to you, to your audience, and 125 of them followed me back. Now, that was an hour of my time, and 125 people that I didn't know followed me that day or in the next few days. And I thought, this is an incredibly good use of my time. Like, I don't think I've ever had 125 new followers in 1 week. That's a pretty good result. And we get along pretty well, and it was a good conversation. And everyone won. Everyone won. People on the call got some information. You had an interesting conversation with a guest. I had 125 new followers. And this idea of pod guesting, which is not my phrase, but it's a new phenomenon. If you don't want to do your own show, I reckon the real power is in putting yourself out there to be a guest. And as a host, what do you look for in a guest? What types of guests would you like to see come on your show moving forward?
Well, that's a fantastic question and a great segue because hey, we're going to talk about user generated content. We're going to talk about, as you mentioned, podcasting, and you have introduced me to some great people who have invited me to their show. That perhaps wouldn't have happened if I was stuck behind that keyboard. Uh, in the coming weeks, I have a few guests of my own that are showing up, and I'll mention them in a second. But to answer your question, I've purposely created 4 different shows. My commitment is to try to stick to two times a week, and during any given weekday, I'll have an afternoon show and an evening show so that I can capture different time zones and different people and professionals who engage during work time and others who engage after work. So I'm trying to be very mindful of where I can show up for my audience. So, in terms of subject matter and guests, I'm always looking for someone who I can help first and foremost, um, be able to share the stage and amplify their purpose, their community, and their value proposition with my community. So, it's this. I'm trying to be very selfless here. Not only do I want to be seen, heard, and remembered, but I want my guests to have that same opportunity to be seen, heard, and remembered. Right. And so I talk about marketing. I co-host a show with Kendra Noel, and she's a digital marketing expert. I do a LinkedIn literacy, which helps the job seeker community and professionals get the most out of LinkedIn based on personal life experience. I'm not here to say I'm going to 10 times anything for anyone. I'm just here to share what's worked for me, what hasn't worked, and how we can.
Man, come on. The trends. I'm going to help you get a 7-figure job in 7
Yeah.
days. Let's try that. Hashtag 7-figure job in 7 days. Hashtag. Can't you promise me that I'll get a 7-figure job and buy a brand new house and a Jaguar before Christmas? Come on. That's what everyone's doing.
Yeah. So
Tell
for
me
me,
it's not true. Tell me it's not true.
so I'm trying to be as genuine and just show up consistently. uh, show up consistently and give others the opportunity to show up consistently. And what it's doing, it's bringing people to the conversation. Hey, I heard you the other day. Love what you said. Can we jump on and have a chat? Which wasn't happening when I was just sharing my written content. Right? So it's evolved and it's part of my evolution. And next week, guess what? I'm bringing Liz Hamlet,
Wow.
which you
Wow.
introduced me to.
Yeah. She's in
Uh,
London. Yeah.
she's
London
in
or.
London, so here we go. We're bringing different parts of the world to to the show, and kind of alludes to the intro video that I play, where I'm doing a zoom out, and this is really bringing the world together, right? And so I'm excited. Uh, Liz is a business strategist and business coach, so there's a lot of synergy,
Strategy.
right?
Strategy with attitude. Yeah.
Strategy. That's correct. That's her handle. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then the week after, I'm also interviewing
Oh, Amanda.
Amanda Mills.
Whoa.
So some fantastic people on the agenda. My calendar is open to anyone who would like an opportunity to guest speak, and let's help each other be seen, heard, and remembered. All
Well,
right.
let's just pick up on what just happened there. Amanda Mills is a friend of mine in Melbourne. Now, I said to you, I reckon she'd be an awesome guest. You reached out to her. She said yes. She's got a brand new book coming out. She needs to get PR for the book. You need a guest. Win, win. And I get a bit of a buzz because a friend of mine gets to go on a show in Toronto, Canada. We're all winning. And now Liz, who's from London, gets to go on a show in Canada, another member of the Commonwealth, and they get to sort of share the love. Bloody brilliant! It's just brilliant, and this is exactly what we do. And this
All right.
is the idea of podcasting for me is not necessarily about what I'm going to get out of it as the guest. Like there is a really amazing joy in knowing that Liz and Amanda went on your show and that you went on my friend Tim's show. He's got 500 shows on YouTube. Like he is such a winner. He's doing what we're doing, but he's got his camera on. And, this is just amazing. Just amazing.
So we got
We're all, we're all,
someone at the door.
okay. Knock, knock.
Knock knock. Did you hear that?
I did. That was clever.
All right, let's see who it is. Hey, it's Chris. Chris, how you doing? Welcome to the stage. Why don't you introduce
Well,
yourself?
I am so humbled and honored to be here with you gentlemen tonight on Wonderful Wednesday. How's your Wonderful Wednesday? And as for you, Keith, it is already Transformational Thursday already.
You got a day. Run me through them. You've got a day for every day. Tell me, what is it? It's Wisdom Wednesday, a Wonderful Wednesday.
Wonderful Wednesday.
Yeah.
Transformational Thursday. Fantastic Friday. Super Saturday and Sunday. Marvelous Monday. And, of course, Transformational Tuesday.
Oh, Transformational Tuesday and Transformational Thursday. That's good. TTs.
There you go.
Chris, welcome. I don't think we have met, or if we're connected. If we are, fantastic.
We should be, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love that. Absolutely, sir. And thank you for having me on. Like I said before, I greatly appreciate it because I truly believe, America, when you are just willing to say yes and you just are willing to show up, great things not only will happen, but they can be done from a place of intention, inspiration, and of impact if you just allow that to occur.
I totally agree. I didn't realize, and I'm almost ashamed to say that it took me longer than I had expected, or longer than I had wanted, to realize how philanthropy here on LinkedIn opens doors and opportunities. And I can't say that enough. Everyone wants to monetize something, and you come at someone with a pitch and you get that door shut in your face. But you come at someone with, here's what I'm giving. I'm giving someone an opportunity to join me on stage. And if you give, guess what? Karma will come back and reward you in some shape or form.
Yeah, the way I articulate it, Americo, is just simply this. The very act of giving is in the very act of receiving. It's already there. But do we actually not only intentionally do it, but also do we actually accept the gift that's actually been given to us? Now, mind you, I know a lot of us, Keith and Americo, sometimes don't really see an opportunity for what it is because, of course, life is always going on in and of itself. When we have to prioritize family and work and everything like that, maybe we should just recognize the one thing that's the really constant throughout life that we can't put a box on, we can't say no to, we can't ship it halfway around the world to get it out of our lives. We just got to recognize change is already there. And if we embrace that change, then we, again, are willing to show up, willing to say yes and say, I want life to happen for me versus to me. It changes everything.
Can I pick up on this? Why do you think this is a very, very good strategy? Certainly good because we're on LinkedIn. Why do you think people in general, and not everyone does this, but it certainly happens at least once a day, come at you with the pitch? Why don't people have the wisdom to know that they need to give first? Is this not taught? Is it not obvious? What's the missing link? To me, it's obvious, but why don't people get it? Is it fear? Is it lack of skill? Is it lack of training? Or do people not believe it?
it can be all of the above, Keith, and here's why I say that. Because everyone has a different, not only purpose in life, but also a different path in life. And of course, what we kind of been understood probably in maybe, I won't say it's indoctrination, but it's really a form of conditioning when you really think about it. We've been conditioned to believe that we have to follow a certain set of not only standards and rules of the road, so to speak, and say, this is the way you got to look, this is the way you got to talk, this is the way you got to connect, when in fact, it's not about all those other things that we kind of get you. Like you said, it's probably could be about fear. Hey, I'm not good enough because I don't have 10 PhDs. I don't have $10 million in the bank. And see, for me, I really don't care about all that. And here's why. Because I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I have been homeless for over 2 years, didn't know where my next meal was going to be, didn't know where I was going to have my next roof over my head. But then again, by the grace of God, I found my awesome wife, Melinda, who loves me for who I am, nothing more, nothing less, takes me for who I am, and loves what I'm all about. Because for me, Keith and America, when you really get down to the nitty gritty of connecting with people, it's not about the money, but it's about the next currency of humanity in and of itself, which is priceless by very definition, which is value. And we've been told we can't put a price on life 110%. But see, we get so caught up in the Flintstone kind of mindset that we keep up with the Joneses, that if this guy's doing this thing, I got to do the exact same thing. When in fact, you don't. You got to choose your own path. And for me, Keith and Americo, it's about recognizing this very simplistic, not only idea, but framework that we can all work within in and of itself when we just, again, allow it to occur and say, hey, I'm going to let choice be the ultimate path to freedom. Because then when I start choosing my life instead of dictating the life that I want, which to a certain degree I understand you can design your life in the way that you want to do it, and that could be a form of dictation maybe, but it's not one of a negative connotation on it. But when you say, I want this for me, and this is the way I want to do it, maybe for me to get that, maybe I could be willing to let go of not only what I fear to lose, but let go of everything, even maybe the very outcome that I want. Because maybe I'm not necessarily the smartest person in the room, but if I surround myself with people who know what they know far better than me, I truly believe clarity is not necessarily a singular kind of individual event. It's literally a community event, because then once I bounce off ideas of Americo and then off you, Keith, then that's how the pathway to clarity comes more in focus, because then again, we recognize maybe alignment and agreement not only are interconnected to each other, but also they can see that for themselves and say, hey, I could be interconnected with Keith on these particular things, but not necessarily Americo, but I might be in alignment with Americo on these kind of things. But you let that be the starting place from them and them alone, not from you. Because when you start dictating that kind of rules of the road or rules in engagement, and you put up these barriers in and of itself, which don't really need to be, but when you kind of put up that defense mechanism, the next thing you know, you really are distancing yourself and maybe from other people from opportunity, connectivity, wisdom, knowledge, and everything in between.
Brilliant, man! Do you want to pick up on that? I don't know where to start. That's a whole masterclass, isn't it? We got you there, Americo. Have you lost the mic? And now a word from our sponsor.
Take myself off. Take myself off of mute here. If Meryl is still in the room, here is a message from our sponsor. I know he gets a chuckle out of it. Crickets. He loved the cricket analogy that you and I have made. Your analogy was to talk to the rooster. When Merrill heard the crickets, he was beside himself. But back to Chris's comment. My goodness, that was very masterclass-esque. Thank you so much for sharing that. You said something. Now, I can't remember what big personality said it, but isn't there a quote that suggests if you're the smartest person in a room, you're probably in the wrong room?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And listen, I've always, and I try to check whether it's people want to call it my ego. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be the most resourceful person. I want to be able to help and give back. And anyone who's worked with me has really come to appreciate that. On the surface, I might not come across as soft-hearted, but I genuinely am. I will drop what I'm doing to lead, support, and develop someone and help them reach their milestones. And that's how I get fulfilled, is by helping others. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. And when you really think about it, Americo and Keith, when you just are willing to provide yourself, and not necessarily a money mindset dynamic, but truly of one of great wisdom, value, just wanting to meet them where they are and everything like that, that's going to be a great thing, because when you just allow that to take hold, the next thing you know, one foot begins with the next foot, and then next thing you know, it just the momentum carries into everything.
absolutely. And you know what? I'm gonna kind of segue. You talk about momentum, and I love the shows that I do. I To the point where I have people now asking me, it's like, Americo, where do you find the time and the energy to be live so often and so frequently? And listen, when you're doing something you love doing, the time is a second thought. It doesn't. You make time because it's part of what you love to do. It's part of your
Let me pick up
passion.
on that, Americo.
Yeah.
I actually think that if people ask that question, that might be coming from the exact opposite position. You know what? I don't want to do it. I don't know how you have time to do it. Like, I might ask the same question of someone, mate, how do you have time to mow the lawn every week? Well, I love mowing the lawn. I just find the time, man. I hate mowing the lawn. I never have time for it, and I don't want to do it. If someone mowed the lawn every day, I would have the same question. How do you find time to do the vacuuming every week? Well, I just find the time, Keith, because it cleans the house. But we love doing it. Like, this is our thing. Like, there's nothing else I'd rather do than this, right? So it's not like I'm finding the time. I get to do this. We get to do this. Like,
Yeah.
we just, like, everyday citizens of the world get to do this. Can you believe it? Got a little studio in the back of my house, and I get to do this. There's nothing else I'd rather do.
Yeah.
Because
Me as well.
And see, Keith, I love that what you shared there, because again, that goes right to what I said earlier about just showing up. Because when you are willing to show up and you're not expecting, I think this is a big thing too as well. When you're not expecting anything from anyone else, and I think that's another big thing. We got to end up getting this kind of dichotomy that if I give you something, you got to give me something in immediate return. You got to do that, when in fact you don't. And for me, the way you can really do that and add value to people is, again, where
Right.
Chris is this particular day, he is there. Like, you want to hear it? I had to go to the doctor, that kind of thing. And see that nowhere, no.
Right. Chris, you're breaking up. Uh, I
Let
will
me let me just jump in there, Americo.
go
Play a
ahead.
little sound. Let me just change the tone, clean it up. Hey, man, we're back. Chris, there's something going on with your mic. It was very distorted right from the start, but now it's very choppy. Now my gut feeling, I'm trying to work out this. I'm guessing it's VoIP. You've got an internet-based telephone. It's very distorted, and now it's not working at all. What do you think, America? This is a very important point, because this is an audio-only format. This is all we have. So if it
Yes,
doesn't sound good, it's bloody hard to hear.
it was difficult to hear Chris there at the end. Perhaps he's driving or he's on the road and an overpass of some sort, or maybe some power lines. We'll bring him back on stage when he's able to. I'll continue the conversation. We're talking about, how do I find the time uh, to stream and show up live so frequently? And you know what? I started to give it some thought, and part of that thought was, how can I optimize and make the best use of my time? And I wrote something out this week, and I shared it with you. I think you were one of the first people that I shared it with.
Oh, I love this.
Uh,
Yeah, let's pick up on this.
It
This is
was
really, really
it was
good. Oh, this
the
is really good.
content, my content trilogy strategy. So here I was up until last weekend competing with my live events and my content strategy. So the two of them were going toe to toe, trying to get people's attention and community attention and engagement. And it wasn't until that question was posed, how do you find the time? It's like, well, how can I make more time? And what I've decided to do was build my content strategy to have it complement my live show. So the whole trilogy um, was just a play on words. But hey, what you're noticing and what you're seeing or going to start seeing from my community and from my space are polls, short form content that will set the stage for my live events. And we'll be able to talk about and bring quantifiable information to the show. I now know who's engaged, gives me an opportunity to personalize some invitations because I have the capability to reach out to poll respondents. Hey, thank you for answering this week's poll question. This week's poll question was, do you think that LinkedIn is the new YP? And we'll get to that in a moment. And those who engaged in that poll, I now know that I've piqued their interest, I've piqued their curiosity. May not mean they're going to have time to show up for the show, but at least I have an audience whose interest I've piqued, and I want to bring value to them. So now I can start my invitations based on those who participated in the polls, or it could just be short form content. Next week we got Amanda and we have Liz showing up. I will start promoting and do a little bit of a bio to pique the interest and the curiosity to bring more people to my live events. So that's,
I want to pick up on this. This is so good. This is especially relevant because we've got May the 4th be with you coming up soon next week. And the force is strong with this one. I can't do a Yoda voice. The force is strong with this one. Try or don't try. But you're talking about content trilogies, and the idea is that the live show is the thing. It's the point. It's the centerpiece. But most people don't know that we spend hours behind the scenes before the show doing the prequels, the show notes, the polls, generating interest. Most people think we just turn up on a random time at 10 minutes before and just push go, which is, of course, not the truth. We actually have these really lovely strategies, and you've actually now put this out really strongly. And then the third part, which we'll talk about in a minute, is this after show party. What can we do with this content? The user generated content, this idea that you came on the show, which parts did you like best? And what did you learn? And share that with your audience and come to the next one. And it becomes this lovely infinity loop. And as an example, Americo and I did a show 2 days ago. 8 pieces of content have been taken out of that one show, and we've had 250 replays since. Now, that's just a lovely win for us. We did the show, we loved doing it, but it didn't disappear. 8 separate pieces of content have come as a result of that, which will feed into the next show. And the infinity loop builds, doesn't it? Now you've put structure behind this.
Absolutely, and it brings clarity. That's the best way to describe it. It provides clarity for my content, my agenda. I am now visually making sense. There's a format. There's I don't know how else to describe this, but it's structured. You know that the polls or the short form content is going to bring attention to the live show. The live show is going to bring, whether it's through user generated content or simply creator based content. At the end of my shows, if I learn something, there hasn't been a show where I haven't walked away with a new key learning from someone, whether it's their comments, whether it's joining us on stage. I'm always learning something. And sometimes it's those comments and that engagement that segues into, hey, here's another great show idea. How often have you and I, like, especially your shows go on for a lot longer than mine, but the conversation, you're not filling dead air at any point in your shows. Once your audience shows up, you may have an agenda, you may have some speaking notes, but that conversation evolves and flourishes, and then you nurture that conversation to the point where, oh my goodness, here's a great lesson to lean into and create another show out of it or another agenda.
It really quite literally is an infinity loop. Like you got to start somewhere. So you start with your first show, and I'll talk about this in a minute because I've got a new show starting in July, and we can even use this as a case study. I know I've got a show starting on the first Wednesday in July, Tuesdays in the US. I know that's happening, so I've got a couple of weeks now to build that. That's my prequel. The show will happen, and there'll be cool people on that show, and they will create content, and that show will build the next show, the second Wednesday in July. And so once you understand that there is a system behind this, it's very easy to repeat it. And there's nothing to copyright. I'm not going to send this in, put in a $97 ebook and sell it on Clubhouse. You know, there's no secret sauce here. We're just doing it, right? And we love this so much that we're just talking about it. It's not even giving it away. We're just simply explaining what we do because we do it.
Absolutely.
It's not an ebook. It's not for sale. It's not some magical formula that you have to go into a secret cave and I'm going to put a hood on you and burn candles. I'm just sharing what we do. And because we're doing it. Like, it's the best form of learning, isn't it? Action. It's the best form of learning, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm going to put
absolutely.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. Action. It's the best form of learning. I might even turn that into a song. Action. It's the best form of learning. Action. You know that we're yearning. Action. Just bear with me. I'm gonna channel my internal sort of 70s vibe there.
That's awesome.
But you know what I mean? I mean, so many people hide these bullshit stories behind an ebook and some mystery product. And then you get in, I've done this. I've been sucked into their vortex. And you think, mate, that's not very special. You just charged me $97 for something I learned at the pub.
Yeah, those lead magnets. Hey, one of your shows last week, we talked about the whole email strategy. And if we may not want to jump into it because we can be here for hours, but anyone wants to hear, jump on Keith's show last week. Keith and I and a few other listeners, we shared our sentiment as to where we stand on email marketing, and there were people who were for it, and there were people who were against it. I understand the premise. I understand the value. I believe it doesn't have a place in my wheelhouse. At least no one's been able to show me how to effectively implement it. My marketing comes from these events and conversations that are now being booked in my calendar are stemming from these events. So this trilogy is golden.
I think you're right. What we were alluding to there, and I better get off my whole horse, but a lot of these lead magnets, which are designed to get your email address, are very simplified things that are not that valuable. And I apologize for anyone who's got a lead magnet and an email strategy, but I've got about 100 ebooks on my C drive, and I can tell you for sure I haven't read any of them. I did intend to, but I never got round to it. And I just don't want to be part of that sort of mindset anymore. I know what I know. Come to my shows and I'll share. That's our brand, isn't it? Come to our shows and we'll share. That's it. There's no agenda. There's nothing to buy. Just come. We're all friends. Just let's teach each other.
And all right, great segue. Let's teach each other. Let's talk about personal branding. You put out a poll. I think it's still an active poll, if I'm not mistaken. It was a 2-week poll, and you asked your community, what's the best online site to build your personal brand? And as of, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia, 68% of respondents say that LinkedIn is the platform, the site to build personal brands. Now, it's not to say that we can't effectively do it on other platforms, because there are people who are leaning into the other platforms. So it's viable. It can be done pretty much anywhere. But our community leans heavily on building a personal brand here on LinkedIn. And this is part of one of Keith's prequels. Share a little bit about how this came about.
Yeah, so I really, really like a premise called Ikigai, which is a Japanese principle for meaning in your life. And there's 4 basic principles with Ikigai. One is, what do you want to do? What do you want deep in your heart to do, like as a task? I mean, everyone wants money, but what do you want to do for that money? The second question is, what does the world want you to do? I might want to do car racing as a Formula One. I don't, but I might. But no one needs me to do that. And I might be able to make money out of it, but it's pretty difficult. So what does the world need? What does the world want you to do? Right? And if you can get those 2 in sync, then you're halfway there. The third one, which is a sort of a career question, which fits into your career show, is what do you think you can get people to pay you to do? If you're very, very good at something and someone else isn't, they might pay you to do it because they don't want to do it. If you're very, very good at your lawn, please contact me and I'll pay you $50 a week to mow my lawn because I don't want to do it. But you might love doing that. If you love mowing the lawns, please contact me. I don't want to do it. And I'm quite happy to pay $50 secretly out of a secret account, which my wife will never find out about. And then she'll come home one day and she says, oh, thanks, honey, you mowed the lawn. It doesn't look good. Man, that's so good. Oh, let's go out for dinner. You've earned that. I'm going to try this. So this is a very good example. If you loved mowing lawns, what does the world need? The world needs people to mow lawns, and people will pay you to mow lawns. So if you mow lawns, you are never going to be short of a job. And the fourth one, this is the very, very, very important one, is what are you good at? You may want to be good at mowing lawns, but you might actually be pretty bad at it. You might be pretty lazy, or you miss the edges, or you don't know how to make it look good. So using the lawn as an example. So this is called Ikigai. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is my polls all come from this position. And to the point of the personal branding one, I said, look, I've got 4 ideas for shows. This is a previous poll, setting up the prequel. I've got 4 ideas for shows coming up in the next few weeks. What do you want me to talk about next? 1, building your personal brand. 2, how do I market my online events? 3, I really want to start a podcast. And 4, how do I make myself sound better so I don't get that choppy sound? Now, 68% of people said, overwhelming spike, mate, I want to learn how to build my personal brand. Wow, okay, the audience has spoken. The audience wants to know how to build a personal brand. Good. Now I know that. I've got a show about that soon. Here's the link. So that occurred to me to say, well, okay, if you want to build a personal brand, and that's what's currently happening right now, the live component, what site do you think you would like to do that on? Do you like LinkedIn? Do you hear a lot about TikTok? Have you a bit of an Instagrammer? Are you still using Facebook? Or maybe you've got a YouTube channel, right? And that stat, which is live now, as of today, still a couple of days to go, is exactly what we're talking about from the point of view that people want to know how to build a personal brand, and we're helping doing it. I mean, it's just a circular discussion. You want to know how to do it. I'm learning how to do it so I can teach you how to do it. It's genius, isn't it? I mean, it's an infinity loop.
Absolutely. So I want to be the guy who people say you got to talk to Americo when the conversation starts with, who do you think can help me be seen? Who do you think can help me get my voice and my message and my narrative heard? And who do you think can help me build my business so that customers remember me and become advocates? So I can't say it enough, and I will say it until it becomes ingrained, be seen, be heard, and be remembered. And I want to be the name behind that phrase that I.
Can we just address the obvious question about bias?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're on LinkedIn, and we've got a poll on LinkedIn about LinkedIn. Now, what's going to happen there? 68% of people are saying, well, I'm on LinkedIn. What do you want me to say? I'm on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Of course, I'm going to pick LinkedIn. But the obvious answer to that is to do a poll on every site. But my answer is the best type of marketing to do. This is not my phrase, but I'm very happy to make little songs about it. The best type of marketing to do is the marketing you will do. If coincidentally 68% of people said, mate, I really want you to set up a TikTok channel, the answer is no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to. I don't care if TikTok's a trend. I don't want to do it. So a trend is only relevant if it's fits with your journey. LinkedIn is a site with 1 billion users. Here's that graphic coming up. It has 1 billion users. We're here now. Why don't we start there? The question really in the polls is really just to get the question out there. If you really, really, really want a YouTube channel, then do that, because one of the most common answers in the poll, if you go and read the comments, is, look, to be honest, the best type of marketing is the site that you stick with. If you're on YouTube, then go with YouTube. If you think YouTube will work, it will. Just stick with it. I don't personally like YouTube, but if you like it, go for it. I love LinkedIn. Don't even have a TikTok account. Never use Facebook. Hate Instagram. So we are a bit biased, and we're probably talking to the converted, but by all means run a poll in your environment. Do you have other sites that you would try as well, Americo, other than LinkedIn, or is LinkedIn your thing too?
LinkedIn leads the pack out of all my social channels, but you've sparked another idea. I don't know if in other parts of the world, I'm sure there is. I can't imagine there not being, but we have a community-based platform here in my area. It's called Nextdoor, and it's very niche. It just allows different. It's somewhat like a BNI type of environment, but it's not exclusively business related. It's just community members sharing and just being community members in a virtual platform. I am going to drop a poll question, because I'm sure all of these people who live around me are professionals. So we're going to test out the LinkedIn bias And I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
run
get
a
on the
I'm
site.
gonna run
Yeah,
a poll simultaneously on LinkedIn and put it out to the community here on this network, now our next door platform, and see how the two will vary, if
yeah.
at all.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Kendra. I really appreciate this. And look, it is a bias. We're on LinkedIn. Of course, we're going to pick LinkedIn, unless you hate it. And if you hate it, why are you here? Of course, you're going to be here. Like, of course. What's your favorite language in the world? Well, I can only speak English, so I've got to say English. Can't speak Spanish. I don't know what that sounds like. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't talk to me in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. So thanks for that, Kendra. It's a very strong bias, and she says that she has next door as well.
Yeah.
So that must be sort of a North American thing. I haven't heard of it, but it's a neutral force that gives us a very strong. If you did this poll on Facebook, of course everyone would pick Facebook.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting. Another experiment for us to put in uh, our our resume and work with it. I just want to pause here for a moment. We have a lot of people who have jumped in, and I think I may have been neglecting the comments. If there are any questions, I don't know if I missed any. I'll be sure to jump back in and answer those. But if anyone wants to join us on stage, I am more than happy to bring anyone who wants to join the conversation. I'm going to drop the stage link once again and invite anyone who wants to
Can
join
you
us.
also send it to me and I'll send it out?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I'll copy and paste that. So I'm happy to ad lib if you want to do that in the back channel.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things we've noticed with LinkedIn, and you may not know this until you actually do a show, it's extremely hard for the host to send the link out while he's talking. Like it's impossible. It's, I can't do it because I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. I tried it. I tried it yesterday. Chew gum, chew, walk, chew, walk. I'm getting good. I can chew gum and walk at the same time if I really, 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 really try. So I can't do two things at one time. Boy brain, right? So to be able to send the link and talk at the same time, it's like splitting my head open. So, but I'll do that for you while you're talking, and I'll go and see who's in the call that I'm following or that connected to, and I'll send them the link and they can join us because we can have actually up to 10 people.
We can have up to 10 people, and I'm excited to see uh, that we're simultaneously streaming on not only LinkedIn, but we're also streaming live on YouTube. And we've hit a record number of participants on my YouTube channel. It's only 3, but hey, it's not 0. And I want to
Yeah.
celebrate the fact that we
You
have
know what we
an
could do
audience.
too? Yay! And we have a winner. One of the things that Restream does, and let's try to do this, guys, for Americo. If we can get 100 comments, you'll get a special badge. You know that? This is the pretty cool. Restream gives you a little badge once you hit 100 comments. So let's see if we can get 100 comments. Just go crazy, invite all your friends, say hello, just say anything. We just got to get up to 100. And then what happens here with the algorithm, we're playing the game now, is that LinkedIn goes, man, this Americo guy's a bit of a dude. Let's put that out. Let's get him a bit of a sort of rock star status. So if you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, if you've got any mates that thought might benefit from this, if you're sort of having a bit of a watch party, tell the world because LinkedIn wants us to converse and it's looking for those triggers. And one of the triggers, I don't know if you know this, Americo, but if you can get to 100 comments, you go into a very special club. You go into this very special room and they give you extra goodies. So let's see if we can get 100 comments.
All
We
right,
must be getting pretty close. We must be getting pretty close, I reckon.
all right, folks. You heard Keith. Let's try to get to 100. Um, I'd love to see what that looks like. Love to see what kind of goodies and what color the badge is. So while we do that, why don't we why don't we jump into the next poll question that kind of uh, was being bantered around? Can UGC content effectively promote a personal
Yeah, very
brand?
good question.
Listen, I didn't think it could, but I was going about it all wrong. So UGC to at one point for me was reposting someone's post, and it got very little traction, it got very little engagement, and when it did, it really it was tilted in terms of whose audience it was serving. But when you come up with organic content and you mention someone and you amplify someone through your thought leadership, then let me tell you, it's game changer. And you and I have not only experimented, but it has now become part of our content strategy and just part of our personal brands as to who we are and what we want to do in terms of bringing value to each other's community.
Yeah, let's pick up on UGC. This is a very important one, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. User generated content. As a host, one thing that annoys me probably most of all is when people turn up about 1 minute before the show and leave 1 minute after it's finished and never do anything with it. I realize we're all busy. I get it, but what about just having the courtesy to sort of share it with your friends or make a little clip or do something else? And the reason why that's important, very important, is that I get a lot of requests for guests now, and I got a list. And I can tell you for sure, if a guest comes on and they sound great and they do content afterwards and they promote the show, they're going to go up the list. If someone turns up 2 minutes before the show and they're in a shopping center and it's noisy and they never do anything with it, they probably won't get another turn. Maybe not. I don't know. But the point is that we're all friends here. Let's help each other. And if we can be part of the game, we teach you how to do it. Like this show on Tuesday had 250 replays already. It was about how to repurpose content. It's a thing. It's a skill to learn. And once you learn how to do it, it'll change your life forever. I mean, just the
Absolutely.
idea of making content for other people, it's just as thrilling as making your own content, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very fulfilling. It is very rewarding, and it serves multiple purposes, and it kind of resonates with what we spoke about earlier about that whole philanthropic piece where you're giving back, and you do get rewarded for it. Now, I do have someone who wants to join us. I think they're calling in.
Oh, love, you got the sound. You've got the
Yes,
sound, man.
let's see who it is. Hey, Kendra, how are you?
Hey, Americo. I'm good. How are you guys?
Not too bad. Thanks for joining. For those who don't know, Kendra is joining us from Casper, Wyoming. She is my co-host on the strategy session. Welcome to this evening's session. Why don't you introduce yourself and join the conversation?
Thank you. I can't tell you why I'm so nervous. You and I go live all the time, but for some reason, hopping in the backstage, I'm like, got this ball of butterflies or something. I'm like, okay, we're getting ready to go live unexpectedly. So I think that's the part that's making me nervous. But my name is Kendra Noel. I do marketing strategy for service-based business owners. And yeah, I just really enjoy these lives and the conversation. You guys are talking about stuff that's, in my world. So I thought I would join. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. What is it that resonates? What is it? What part of your world would you like to share with our audience?
Well, you guys were talking about LinkedIn and being, the best place to do personal branding, and why I commented that the poll might be biased. However, I do agree that LinkedIn is the best place to build a personal brand.
Hands down, I am going to agree, and it's a great segue for our last poll question that I have going around, which got some really good engagement. Um, is LinkedIn the new YP? And yeah, generational response, 27% uh, chose what is YP. So you kind of know that this is very diverse. So
I'm
for
on the cusp. I had to think about it for a minute, and then I picked up what you were laying down.
We were on the remember we were on the call at Americo, and I said, "Oh mate, these bloody acronyms. What's YP?" Keith, don't you remember that little yellow book that used to come in on your, once a year and be thrown at your doorstep? Oh, you mean the yellow pages, that sort of 20th century idea. And then I researched it. That like the yellow pages stopped being printed in every Western country in 2019. I mean, there's people on this call that have probably never seen one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's very likely people who have never seen one, and they might be on this call. But it was one of your shows that it came up and it triggered. And here's another example how something that someone says on someone else's event triggers a thought that piqued my curiosity, and I put it out to my community. And I can't remember if it was Mike or Bez, or may have been even someone else. It's like, hey, today when you need a service or you need a product, where do we go? Right? The stats say that over 80% of all buying decisions start online, which is astounding. It might even be higher than that by now. But the same thing can be said to a professional service. If you need an accountant, if you need a digital marketing professional, where are you going to look? People no longer go to the yellow pages. People do voice searches on their mobile devices, but there is a tremendous amount that rely on LinkedIn. Hey, this is where the professionals hang out. This is where businesses hang out. Let me go see if there's a accountant in my area. Heck, it might even be someone that I'm connected with. So for those who aren't showing up and aren't working on developing a personal brand, you're missing out because people are using LinkedIn as a search engine. LinkedIn themselves no longer call themselves a platform. I can't remember what article where I read it. They now consider themselves a search engine.
Oh, I love this. Pick up on this, Kendra. What do you think?
Oh, I think that I take people a lot more seriously if they have a LinkedIn presence, and I think that that is probably true for people who are on the LinkedIn platform. If they're thinking they might need a new service provider, they're going to be looking for someone else who uses LinkedIn, and not just someone who set up a profile and hasn't touched it for 3 years, but someone who's active on the platform, talking about the area of expertise and establishing that authority.
Absolutely.
Do we want
Keith?
to touch on how to build on LinkedIn? I mean, I'm pretty proud. I'm trying a little experiment today about pod guesting. Um, I, my record so far is that 125 new followers followed me as a result of going on your show, mate. You are the king. You are the
Wow,
kingdom.
that-
125 new followers. But what is the secret to building on LinkedIn? I agree that you go to someone's LinkedIn page and they've got 53 followers, no posts, never posted, don't know what they're doing. It's not very good, is it? It doesn't build confidence, does it?
no. So it's all about building community. And we touched on this earlier. You gotta build with a giving intent. You gotta, and when you're giving, you're giving away information. You're giving away your thought leadership, and you want to build trust. To build community, yes, we can build a community filled with vanity, with millions of impressions and hundreds of followers. But if what you're bringing to your community isn't resonating, and you're not getting people engaging, and you're not getting those people to share their thoughts on what you bring to them in terms of value, then it's all for naught, right? Now, we got someone else at the door. Why don't we see who it is, and let's bring him in. All right, we're coming. Hey, it's our friend Lachelle. Let's let her in. Hello, Lashana. How you doing?
Glad to see you guys. I love that doorbell. I mean, I'm really feeling like I'm coming in the room. I love that.
Well, welcome to the stage. Why don't you introduce yourself and jump right into the conversation? Share your thoughts with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am known as America's Supermom. My husband and I have 15 children, and I'm a media strategist. I help you to monetize and create a global impact in the world through media. So I'm excited to be here today, loving the conversation. I think I saw this poll earlier around, the best place to build your brand. And, my answer's still the same. My answer is that wherever you're going to be the most active, because a lot of times when it comes to building relationships and getting started with your business, you're following some of the people that are inspiring you. And one of the things you may try to do is do everything that they're doing, and that can leave you overwhelmed, exhausted, and not getting any traction. So I always say start out where you feel that you're the most active. And eventually, as you get a routine and a system in place, then you can start branching out into other areas.
That's a very, very good statement. Now, if I can piggyback on that and ask, I'm going to ask a question because is it most active or most effective? Because I can go on TikTok and be very active, but if I won't
Mm,
be effective,
that's a
right?
good question.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Well, I know for me, when I consider being active is, who you're engaging with. If you're on an app and people are sending you messages or introductions and you're not actively engaging in that, you're going and responding to those like weeks or months later, that's a problem. So I think, when I think of active, it's you would be on an app, but it is a give and take, like anything with business. So if you're just scrolling and just looking, I don't consider that being
yeah.
active.
Well, I could tell you if I put on a mankini and went dancing around, I'd get millions of views. People mocking me on LinkedIn, on TikTok. I would get it would be a mock fest, and there would be a lot of engagement, but I wouldn't be very effective. I can assure you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can I ask? I'll pick up here if you like.
yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So, I've worked out my routine in Melbourne, Australia. Is I meditate from 6:30 till 7. I get my clear head, and then I have what I call my LinkedIn Power Hour from 7 o'clock until 8 o'clock because I usually do a show at 10 o'clock. So that hour, I'm very effective. I've said hello to some of the followers that followed the night before. If I get 125 in one day, I apologize if I can't get back to you. But I say hello to some of the people that have followed me the night before. I'll have some questions from the previous show. Some of the guests would have had some UGC that we can bounce off. And so that power there, that LinkedIn, for me, the LinkedIn Power Hour is my ROI. I do work the
Mhm.
day before. I wake up and there's 16 messages. Now, some people might think that's annoying, but that's 16 people that have questions for me. Hey, little old me. And there's
Mhm.
16 people that are asking my advice on things. I mean, that's ROI. So I could do that if I was on
Mhm.
TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and that would work. But I don't resonate with those sites. So I don't check them. And I know this for sure because I spent 2 years trying to build a Discord community, and I think you were part of that with me, Americo. It was very, very, very difficult. The same amount of effort, almost zero return. But with LinkedIn, sort
Mhm.
of note for note, dollar for dollar, minute for minute, I spend an hour on LinkedIn. The next day, I've got 16 messages. I mean, that's a win. How cool is that?
Mhm.
How cool is that?
And I wanted to add too, I think it has something to do with intention. I remember when LinkedIn, started these audio spaces because I have a very active community on Clubhouse. So when the audio came over to LinkedIn, you could be in hundreds of rooms and, participating and sharing and inviting people. But just to give you guys your flowers, I just got connected in your community just a couple weeks ago, and I have had so much um, engagement with just these couple of collaborations that I've done. So I think, intention is very important because, you know, a lot of people are like to be in a room, they like to get the information, but then they don't take action. So I think that's one of the things that I would commend you both on is the uh, implementing and showing people how to do that in real time.
And you did that yourself. You created a newsletter out of our show. We were the catalyst for that, weren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the best type of marketing to do is the type of marketing you will do. And please remember, if you can mow the lawn and you charge $50, put your hand up because I'll pay you. Right?
Hey,
I don't want to mow my lawn. I don't want to do videos. I don't want to do TikTok. I'm not doing what I don't want to do. It just doesn't work because I don't want to do it. And by the way, I'm really terrible at mowing the lawn. I mean, I can do it, but it doesn't look good because I have to do it. So it's the same sort of thing. I could make videos. I could. I got tech here. I could make a video, but it wouldn't be very good because I'm not into it. I just don't know. I don't want to get good at it. I'm just doing it because everyone thinks I should. But I really, really love audio, and our shows are compelling. They're cool. They're good. I'm proud of that. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit conceited now, but I love them. Americo, I think we're onto something here, isn't it? You got to resonate with your passion, haven't you?
I mentioned this to Kendra just yesterday after we ended our live session. It's fascinating how my personal brand, although my intention was purely focused on customer experience at one point, it has evolved and has become something that is now balancing and blending a, a, a place for refined customer experience, but also a place for refined personal branding. And the questions that I'm starting to get are questions for support in areas that I would never think I would be good at, but it's resonating with our community. So to answer your question, yes, I think we're onto something, and we're going to test out this trilogy. I think it's going to get some momentum. It'll help provide clarity for those who perhaps found themselves competing, having their written content compete with their live shows, or perhaps was keeping someone from streaming because how am I going to find time when I'm creating all this other content? So it- it's about balance, but it's also about stepping outside your comfort zone. And I'm sure, Kendra, this probably resonates with you when you're working with clients, helping them see things from a different lens, sometimes a 1,000-foot lens, uh, especially with small business owners. I'm sure they're overwhelmed. Some are
Yeah.
trying to do things too much, and that
Hmm.
can be a whole other conversation on its own. Like we're talking
Yeah.
about how to grow, but how about detaching yourself, letting a business owner just do what they're supposed to be doing, running their business, and let people like us help and guide, whether it's through
Yeah. Let's
advisory
have that
work.
discussion. Let's have that discussion. This idea of separation. Someone might
Ex-
be a very, very, very good gardener or a very good veggie shop owner, but they don't really know anything about TikTok. And why should they? I mean, they love growing veggies and selling fresh organic vegetables in a shop in a strip. I don't have to know about that. I'd love to know a bit more about what you do, Kendra. How would you help someone who doesn't want to do this? Is that what you do? You step in and be their advocate, yeah?
Yeah, I sometimes will serve as a social media manager. So that means I'm, generating ideas for content and, refining the content and then implementing it. So I'm on the back end and sometimes even talking in the DMs to people. But I think one thing that's missing, especially with building a personal brand, is that then sometimes those business owners step back and they think, well, Kendra's handling it. I don't need to be there. But I think that that's a big misstep, and they should still be active on the platforms that they have a social media manager hired to, be acting as them. They still need to be adding their voice, to be talking to people themselves, and to be joining things like these lives and adding their perspective, things like that. I think that that can get missed sometimes when they hire a social media manager. They don't think about their marketing at all.
Well, let's pick up on this idea. LinkedIn's a very good place. These are the generic stats, but we've got very specific stats, Americo. There is 15 million Australians on LinkedIn in a country with 28 million. That's more than 50%. Melbourne has 6 million people. We can reasonably assume that 3 million of them are on LinkedIn, which means that every second person in my street has a LinkedIn page.
Mhm.
Right? Now, that's really cool to know because if we can combine, even locally, the idea of going into the city, and I don't collect business cards anymore. In fact, I haven't printed a business card since 2009. But if I went to an event in the city, my first question would be, "What's your LinkedIn account? Let's connect once we connected. Now let's keep in touch." I could get your email. I mean, I could get your text, but I would rather connect on LinkedIn. So, 15 million Aussies, 24 million Canadian, 25 million, 230 million Americans, 14 million Argentinians. Have a look at this map and tell us, and in the comments, part of getting to 100, man. Where are you in the world, and how many people in your country have a LinkedIn page? Look at the map, do some math, make a comment. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. 15 million Aussies have a LinkedIn account. That's 15 million potential conversations. It's very, very inspiring, isn't it, America?
Absolutely. I just came up with another idea, more for comic relief. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put our thumbnails where we reside, just to demonstrate
Oh,
in the
yeah,
future
wow.
show. Let's try to create a map and bring the community together, just to demonstrate the LinkedIn effect where
Oh,
we're
let's do that.
residing. We're going to do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
stay tuned. If we're not connected, please reach out. And if you if you don't reach out, you might hear from me.
Wow. Wow.
We're just filled with effects today. I love it.
Imagine
We,
that. Like, I mean, we know for sure. We know for sure. Australia, Canada, America. They're the ones on the call. But we've got Mexicans, we've got Jamaicans, we've got people from New Zealand, we've got Irish people, we've got people from the Republic of Korea, probably. And all we need to know is, where are you? And just let us know where you are, and have a look at the map and how many of your fellow citizens use LinkedIn as well. And do you know any? So it's very, very, very inspiring. Like, it's an extremely inspiring experiment. So let's do that, America. Let's do that. We'll do so. We've
we're
got
going to do
Canada
that.
and America and Australia covered.
Yeah.
Several of my buddies from New Zealand come all the time. Lots of my friends from Argentina. Richard's from Brazil. I've got a big following in Mexico. It wouldn't be hard to cover off on some of these major ideas, would it?
And I'm going to jump into the comments, and we talk about repurposing. This will be a spin-off from today's show. Here's who showed up in the comments, and here's where they're showing up from. And I'm going to drop your your headshots that are on your LinkedIn profiles, and I'll drop them into this map. So stay tuned. Let's see what we can do with this. I'm excited now.
Yeah.
I was skimming through the comments in the chat, and Merrill has a special request. He heard that there's a rooster uh, in the sound effects. Can you give Merrill?
Actually, I tell you what, I can talk rooster, so I'm actually going to do a bit of a tag team. Listen to this. Hello, are you there? I am, but I'm a long way away. Well, come over, because I wouldn't mind having a chat. All right, I'll be there soon. I just made that up. But the point is that I can talk rooster. Oh man, it's interactive, isn't it? We're in the moment. We're in the moment.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about these events. And I tell Kendra and everyone that I host and have as a guest. Listen, I'll have speaking notes, but I'll try to stay as conversational as possible, because the minute you start sounding mechanical, you lose your audience and you kind of lose the momentum of your show. And hey, if I look at where I was a few months back when I started this whole live expedition, I've come a long way. I am so proud. I want to thank you for mentoring me along the way.
Man,
Um,
I can see you've improved. It's a great thrill for me to know. You know, when I heard you're doing the doorbell, I'm thinking, oh man, that's good. Like you got
yeah,
a doorbell sound now, a doorbell sound and a door knocking sound. I don't have
I,
those.
I
I got to
have the
steal one.
old, yeah, take them. And I found a site, and I'll share them with you, and I'll share with the entire audience. There's a royalty free website that has all these sounds for live streams that people can use. I'm sure there's a few others that I'll probably go digging around for it as as time allows. I'll jump in there. But I also have my vintage telephone. I got the crickets, and hey, um, it's been nothing but a delight having these shows evolve and grow. I'm excited to bring people on stage. I think this is the one of the best turnouts in terms of stage participants. We had Chris on here earlier. I just realized that we have gone past the hour, uh, and that just comes to show when you're having fun and when you're loving what you're doing, finding the time for this just becomes a second thought. And so I want to thank all of our guests who joined us on stage today. We had a fantastic agenda. We covered a lot of information. We talked about, UGC. We talked about personal branding. If you caught us midstream or mid stride, be sure to go back and listen to the replay. If there's anything that you took out of it, I would welcome some engagement, whether it's in the comments or share with your community your thoughts as to what you may have learned or what you might think others would appreciate by listening to this. Um, Lachelle, Kendra, Ken, I can't thank you enough for joining me on stage and being part of the conversation. I am hosting another event tomorrow, and I do make a commitment, and I touched on it earlier that I want to try to keep it to two so that it's manageable. But sometimes things happen, and I can't say no, and I'll move things around, and I'll try to make it work. If you know, and so this week I'm live three times, and tomorrow I have a special guest. Melanie Mitchell Wexler will be joining me on LinkedIn literacy with Shelly Spence. So feel free, join that conversation. We're going to be talking about leeches and lurkers. So
Wow.
this is a nighttime. It's in your time zone. It'll be
Wow.
morning for you, Keith.
Wow.
Kendra and I, Kendra and I, next time will will be hosting a show on our favorite subject, email marketing. Now, we we stream live at 3 p.m. Eastern time, so I know it's out of reach for you, but catch the replay.
Yeah.
And I know you'll do your part in sharing this with your community. For those who are in the right time zones, can join us live. But Kendra and I have been going back and forth, and she knows anecdotally where I stand on emails, but she helps people and she helps business owners effectively leverage and lean into email marketing strategies that work. So um, our next show will be dedicated to email marketing, and she's going to share with our audience uh, what works, and hopefully we'll bring some value on that show. Kendra, hate to put
Yeah,
you on the
I'm looking
spot.
forward to that one. I'm hoping we don't go a little bit head to head too much. I did hear some of your comments talking with Keith earlier in the show back when I before I joined the stage. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. So looking
Hey,
forward to it.
listen, at the end of the day, just because it's not right for me or it doesn't work for me doesn't mean that someone's not going to show up and say, well, here's why it's not working for you. Have you tried X, Y, and Z? Because your ABC strategy will never work for you or will never work for anyone. So I could be going about it the wrong way. And I'm sure Keith is open to learning something that works. And just that where I stand right now, uh, it just isn't effective. But it's not to say that it's not effective for anyone else. Because I know a lot of people, and we had people on Keith's show last week who swear by it, and they say it's the only it's the only way they secure business. So uh, don't take what I say as the final word, because I know it works.
Yeah,
So
we always have
I'm
a good conversation, so
we
I'm
do.
not worried about it.
All right. So before we shut things down, why don't we go around the room and let each of my participants on stage share their closing remarks. And why don't we start with Lachelle?
Well, thank you so much again, Americo, for allowing me to be here. I think learning should be fun. I have found just with so many opportunities that I have learned lessons hard when it comes to business, and being able to have fun tools and strategies. That's what keeps the joy and momentum in your business and branding. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And
All right. So we lost you there at the. There it is. Fantastic. Well, you're more than welcome to join us on stage. In fact, I think we owe each other a virtual conversation. You can join me in my new Go Brunch room. We'll have a coffee and we'll look at ways to help you bring your voice and introduce you to my community so we can get you seen, heard, and remembered and on one of these shows. All right. Thank you. So, Kendra, why don't you share your closing remarks with us?
Sure. I'll just give Meryl a shout out and say thank you for bringing this to my attention. I always reply attending on all of your events, hoping that at some point I would be able to catch you when you're actually live. We've talked before, and it's usually not a good time for me because I have kids and evening time can be hard. But I'm glad that I was able to catch you live today and just to join in the conversation. You and Keith were just having so much fun. It was hard to stay away.
Love it. Thank you. All right, Keith, why don't you take us home?
Okay. So why don't we, as a big shout out, big applause. Yay, we love you. We love you. Big applause for Americo. As a personal favor to me and Americo, I'd like us all to commit to one piece of content, whether it's a retweet, a repost, a newsletter, a photo. What did you learn? What did you get from this? What's your takeaway? What's your action item that you think really inspired you? And hold that thought. This is the really essence. May the 4th be with you. The force is strong with this one. So we've got this strategy. Is this what you got? I'd love you to contact me, contact Americo, put it in the open. And our highest score so far, Americo and I, is that we have had 15 pieces of content separate to the ones we create ourselves come from the audience. Now, UGC, the user generated content, is the next big thing. If you can provide content in the site that you prefer, then you are giving us a big, leg up. We can't do everything. There's only one of me. I love LinkedIn and other sites too, but there's only one of me. There's only 24 hours in a day, and I got to sleep sometimes. That does annoy me. I get up in the middle of the night and check my stats. Guess what? I got 4 new stats since I went to bed at 11 o'clock. Can you believe it? 4 new viewers. Who are they? And what my wife says, come to bed. It's 3 in the morning. Can you please shut up and turn the light off? So I got to sleep. I got to be a human. But if you could create one piece of content in the format that you prefer, let me know what that is, and we'll keep building this as a community event. I think that's just a lovely gesture, and it's just a lovely goal, isn't it, Americo, to sort of build everything out?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate for you putting that out there, and I appreciate those of you who will become new community members, new connections, new collaborators. I'm here to lead, support, and develop where I can. I'm also here to learn from others where I can. So it takes a village is the saying, and I truly believe that we're building a community here, a community that will allow all of us to be seen, heard, and remembered. And on that note, I want to wish all of you, wherever it is that you're tuning in from, whether it's Team Live or Team Replay, want to thank everyone for participating, and I'm looking forward to the comments and the new content that will become a spin-off from today's show. For now, I want to bid everyone a great rest of your day or a good night where you're listening from. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for showing up for us.